Hello, welcome to Culture TV and to our online program, Let's Speak Russian. This is lesson 5. So we'll continue looking at some false friends in this video. There are 4 letters left. Before we do that though, let's see what you should have got for your homework. So I gave you these 5 phrases to try to pronounce. And I do appreciate that this was a bit more challenging than previously. But then again, who said that this would be easy? Alright then, let's take a look at the first phrase. Пейте кофе. Пейте кофе, which means drink the coffee. Пейте кофе. Alright, so again, it's the same idea that we talked about last time. The letter Y causes the consonant that precedes it to be softened. Пейте, okay? Not пейте and not пейте, пейте. And therefore the Y at the end, which is not under stress, is going to be reduced. Пейте. Alright? And the second word, кофе, is a bit of an exception to this, because although the letter O is the one being stressed, the Y at the end is still being clearly pronounced. Кофе. And again, it's not a very clear and open Y sound. Кофе. But it's still not an E. So in other words, the reduction hasn't really taken place. And yes, you could think of this as an exception. As I did mention last time, not everything is that strict with all of this idea of reduction, particularly with loan words like this. So кофе has come into Russian from another language, and for some reason we've decided to keep the Y sound at the end. Alright, the next phrase was Вагон едет медленно. Вагон едет медленно, which means the carriage is traveling or going slowly. Вагон едет медленно. Hopefully this all makes sense here. The same rules apply. The third phrase was идите на вокзал. Идите на вокзал, which means go to the station. The next phrase was Нет, он не знает. Нет, он не знает. No, he doesn't know. Нет, он не знает. And finally we have закат на западе. Закат на западе. And 2 of the words here you know already, so I hope you were able to guess that this means the sunset is in the west. Закат на западе. Okay, so if you had any problems with that, then please do let us know. We'll sort everything out. Otherwise, I hope this wasn't too difficult. Now let's move on to the main part of this lesson. Let's finish off this false friends group. 4 letters to go. Here they are. So let's start with the first letter. Of course, you know that this is not a P because we've actually seen the P already. So this must be something else. This is the Russian letter R. R, which makes the R sound. So yes, this is the Russian letter R, but I hope you've noticed it is not quite the same R sound that we have in English. It is indeed the rolling R, the infamous rolling R that you find in quite a few European languages. R. So I do understand that if you haven't learnt anything like Spanish or Italian before, this will be a bit tricky. You're not the only ones. Russian children, when they first learn to speak, also struggle with this sound, and instead of getting the correct R, they often make the L sound for some reason. Including me, I found this sound hard when I was younger, and I was always told to pretend that I have stones in my mouth, and that I'm trying to sort of pull them out with my tongue. R. Of course, you've got the classic analogy of the tigers roaring. You know, you can try whatever you like. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect straight away. Just try your best. R is the sound that we're after, okay? So here's the first word, rosa, rosa, which is a rose. So all you really need to do is you need to lift your tongue up so that it vibrates sort of at the top of your mouth, right? R, rosa. Okay? The same in this word, rama, rama, which is a frame. Rika, rika. Okay, pay attention to the reduction. Rika, this is a river. Now you have a go at this word. This is a little harder. Okay, so it's берег, берег. So first of all, we're getting the b sound there at the start. So we're softening the b at the beginning, followed by the rolling r, ra, and then the next letter y will be a little reduced. Берег, берег. And this means a shore, the shore of the sea or the bank of a river. And then we have this word, поворот, поворот, which is a turn. And finally we have this word. Why don't you try this yourself first? Дерево, дерево, which is a tree. Дерево. So just stick with it, keep practicing these new sounds that you encounter, and I promise you'll be fine. Let's move on to the next letter. This is the Russian letter S, S, and yes, I suppose this could be thought of as an English letter C, because we do occasionally pronounce it as an S sound as well. But do keep in mind that in Russian it's almost invariably an S sound. As in this word, for example, sad, sad. This word in itself is a false friend. This actually means a garden. Sad. The next word is снег, снег, which means snow. Here we have солодка, солодка. Okay, солодка, which is licorice. And then we have this Russian name, Svetlana, Svetlana, Svetlana. Okay, quite a common female name in Russia. Now you try pronouncing this word. Fantastic. Скамейка, скамейка, скамейка. Okay, and this lovely word means a bench. And finally we have собор, собор, which is a cathedral. Собор. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next letter. This is the Russian letter U. U. So never a Y, never Y, nothing like that. It's always an U. For example, угол, 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 which is an angle. The second word is укроп, укроп. Make sure that you're repeating all of this out loud. Укроп, which is dill. This herb is very popular in Russia. You find it sprinkled over soups and salads almost everywhere. And the next word is another proper noun, Ural, Ural. This is how Russians refer to the Ural Mountains that separate the European half of the country with the Asian half of the country, also known as Siberia. Ural. And finally we have this long word, but you know what, I'll let you pronounce that first yourself. Okay, very good. Устройство, устройство, устройство. And this is a device. And finally today we have this letter, Х, Х, which makes the H sound. Now for some reason when this letter is transcribed into English, a letter K is introduced at the start. So KH is how you would see this letter written in English. And some people believe erroneously that you would pronounce this as K. So this is some sort of letter K in Russian. And that's wrong. It's not. The letter K, if it is included, all it's showing is that this letter H in Russian is a bit harder than the English H. Because after all, the H in English, the H sound, is quite passive, right? You know, it's almost like a sigh of relief. You're just exhaling air, like that. And it's so passive that sometimes people drop the letter H completely in words like he. Yeah, so instead of saying he said, people will say he said. But in Russian, you can't do that with this letter. So it is, yes, okay, it is the equivalent of a letter H, but it's a bit harder. You have to push it through your throat. But you're not making it so hard that once you've produced this H sound many times, your throat starts to hurt. No, it's not like in Dutch or German or other languages. It's still fairly similar to the H in English. It's just you have to add in that extra bit of power. Okay? Right, let's have a look at a few words. Here's the first one. Хлеб. Хлеб. So it's not хлеб. There's no letter K. There's no need to force it through your throat. It's just it's a bit harder, a bit harsher than the H in English. Хлеб. Here's another example. Хвост. Хвост. Хвост, which means a tail. The next word is химия. Химия, which is chemistry. Химия. And finally we have хитро. Хитро. And this is an adverb that means cunningly. Хитро. Okay, so that's it for today. Very well done. As I say, you don't need to get bogged down by all these pronunciation nuances that we've been talking about. I've just pointed them out to you so that you're aware. You yourself don't need to perfect them at this stage. You don't need to perfect them at all, for that matter. It's just good for you to practice hearing these sounds and producing them yourself as well. Okay, now let me give you some homework. Something a bit different this time though. Here are the names of 5 Russian cities. All you need to do is to pronounce them, and we'll see what the correct answers are next time. So thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.